Welcome back to Outside Views, your one-stop shop for the latest in British political theatre, with just enough sarcasm to keep it digestible. And today, we're diving into something that feels almost surreal. The UK government is actually talking about a youth mobility scheme with the EU. Yeah, the same EU some British politicians swore they would never need again. And funny how reality has a way of catching up, isn't it? First things first, Cabinet Officer, or Office Minister it is, I guess, in England, Pat McFadden, has been out and about, and when asked about the youth mobility scheme, he didn't slam the door shut. Instead, he said, let's see what's agreed at the end of the day, which in politics is basically code for we're working on it, but don't want to admit it yet. McFadden also spent some time throwing shade at Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. He pointed out the bureaucracy and costs it created and said the current government is working to improve on that brilliant masterpiece. In other words, the house is on fire, but don't worry, we brought a garden hose. And at the top of UK's priority list, food, agriculture and a veterinary agreement. Because, if you can't move your cheese and sausages easily across borders, what even is sovereignty? McFadden emphasized that while the UK is talking to the EU, there will be no return to free movement. Nope, we're just flirting with it heavily, taking it out for dinner, but we swear we're not getting back together. Promise. Now, over 60 Labour MPs have chimed in, urging ministers to hammer out a new and bespoke youth visa scheme for UK and EU citizens under 30. They wanted to open cultural, educational and economic opportunities. Sounds reasonable, right? Apparently too reasonable for some. Labour is playing this game carefully. Prime Minister Keir Starmer met European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to discuss strengthening the UK-EU partnership. And the spin doctors insist there is good progress. And the translation? We are almost ready to admit that Brexit was a dumpster fire. And meanwhile, Germany's ambassador to the UK, Miguel Berger, added his 2 cents, saying a youth visa deal should be part of a package approach, because the EU loves packages. It's like Brexit never happened. It's just become an Amazon Prime subscription with more paperwork. Of course, it's not all sunshine and visa stamps. The Home Office, always the killjoy at the party, is reportedly pushing for stricter limits. They want visas to last just 1 year to be kept. They should be kept as well, hoping participants don't get comfortable enough to mess with those precious migration statistics. God forbid young Europeans might enjoy their stay. And the EU, meanwhile, is suggesting a more generous approach. 4-year visas, no NHS surcharge, and British tuition rates for EU students. The way things used to be, back when nobody was having daily identity crises about sovereignty. But don't worry, a little rebranding is underway. They are thinking about calling it a youth experience scheme, because if you rename it, it's magically not free movement anymore. That's brilliant. Naturally, not everyone is thrilled. Kemi Badenoch, the Tory leader, warned that this could be another avenue for people to game the system. And translation, young people might come there, work legally and contribute to the economy, and they simply can't have that. And Nigel Farage, never one to miss an opportunity to stir the pot, declared that a youth mobility deal would betray the Brexit vote. Because when people voted to leave, they definitely meant, we hate Erasmus programs and cultural exchanges. Totally. On the flip side, the Liberal Democrats and Greens are jumping for joy. They've been calling for a youth mobility scheme for ages. It's like Christmas came early, minus the Brussels sprouts. The government's careful dance is clear here. They want the economic benefits of a more open relationship with Europe without admitting they want the economic benefits of a more open relationship with Europe. Well, it's political theatre at its finest. A standing ovation for the world's most awkward diplomatic waltz. But here's the real question. Will a youth mobility scheme actually fix the deeper issues Brexit created? Not likely. It might patch some holes, make a few young people happy, and boost some sectors starved of young workers. But it's a band-aid on a broken leg, and still, at this point, Britain might take any band-aid it can get. Because the reality is clear. Global interconnectedness isn't going away just because you shouted sovereignty 3 times into a mirror. It's more likely that the Candyman will show up. The world moved on, and now Britain is scrambling to catch up. So what's next? We wait. The summit is coming up, and more talks, more negotiations, more carefully crafted press releases that say absolutely nothing while sounding extremely optimistic. And maybe, just maybe, some lucky 20-somethings will get to live their European dreams without having to pay more than £1,000 per year just to access healthcare. Imagine that. Thanks for tuning in to Outside Views, and if you enjoyed our brutally honest, slightly cheeky breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe and smash that notification bell. Because if you think British politics is messy, now, just wait. See you next time, and the next video is right here in the end screen.